Just following up a little bit what Merrill was saying. I mean, dude, the off season for Roseman has been remarkable. Has been remarkable. You know, I said on May 13th that football team would not make the postseason because of all the players that you lost. You know why I said that? And people are going like, Sills, you said they weren't. I did. You know why? Because teams don't survive. Here, what team can you remember, especially recently, that went to a Super Bowl, won it, lost it, and stayed intact and stayed competitive? The Patriots? Kansas City? Kansas City's not the same team they were when they won the first Super Bowl, right? It's the quarterback in the building that has kept them going, correct? Look at all the players that they've lost in Kansas City. That's not the same team. The quarterback has elevated his game. Just like Brady elevated his game when he was in New England. But look at the teams that have been to the Super Bowl recently. Shit, even your 17th Super Bowl champion Eagles fell apart. Within 2 years, the Eagles had fallen completely apart. Look at the Atlanta Falcons. They went to the Super Bowl. They fell apart. They're just digging out of it now. Look at the Rams and the Bucks. They've completely fallen apart. So when you guys go like this, Sills, you said that the Philadelphia Eagles were making the playoffs on May 13th. Okay, well, I was just going with everyone in the NFL and the common practice that teams fall apart. Until Howie started restructuring these contracts. I'll tell you something. If I'm an owner, screw that. If I'm an owner, you know what's funny? I don't know what Howie learned more from, the Wentz disaster or the roster disaster. What did he learn more from that Super Bowl? Because that football team fell apart. It was lit on fire. Coaching staff, the quarterback sucked. Guy was an MVP candidate, everything. Contract extension. There wasn't one thing left standing after that Super Bowl but the general manager himself. Think about that. The quarterback inflamed. The head coach was blown out. The players were leaving, retiring, underperforming. Here, there's momentum. You feel I feel momentum. I actually, you know what's funny? Most teams and most people kind of like exhale after a season. Doesn't it seem like the Eagles are still like breathing fire from last year to where they are right now? It's like they don't take a day off. Like there's no days off with them. That football organization, not team, they have systems in how they look at shit. Okay? Free agency starts. Restructuring contracts. You got to prepare for the draft, which they did. They got cap money, $20 million, moving around Lane's money, a couple other dudes' money. They went into the draft with $20 million. They make a trade for Swift. Now they got another shopping cart day, June 1. Look at how they're set up here. Dude, don't be shocked if the Eagles add a B-plus player to their roster June 1. I'm not going to be shocked. If you're the Dallas Cowboys right now and you're watching Philadelphia operate and you're Jerry Jones and you're watching Philly operate, I'll tell you what, I've got to keep up. You know, people used to say you got to keep up with the Joneses and you got to keep up with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have to start doing some things that Philly does. Philly has owned that division for 23 years. Couple up and down seasons in there. Dallas has been nowhere. Shit, the Giants have had more success in the NFC East. Remember what I told you about building a championship football team? You got to first win your division. You've got to draft to beat your opponent. You've got to have the quarterback that wins the division first. Win the division, puts you in the game. It puts you in the second season. You never know what happens. you might fall into a Super Bowl or play yourself into a championship game like the Eagles did in 17. Do you know what won that Super Bowl in 2017? Wasn't Nick Foles. Wasn't Doug. It was the environment. It was the culture of the building. Next man up kind of shit. Seems like a cliche a lot of times to people. But this is why you know it's true. Remember what I told you about having blind faith in an organization? This is why Jalen Carter's it's a good draft pick. If the kid fucks up, okay, it's on him. And I apologize for that, but you know why? Because he'll be his own demise. This is not going to be a Jalen Reagor deal. This is going to be more of a Ja Morant kind of deal if this guy falls apart. Because he has the talent to star in this league. Unfulfilled talent is sometimes the biggest crime of all time when you're talking potential. Potential sometimes, when you throw that word around, it's got to be one of the most overrated words in the history of sports. How many times do we see guys never live up to that because of whatever? Not getting to the octagon, not getting to Lincoln Financial, never fulfilling one's destiny, listening to the wrong people. Look at all the speed bumps. Man, I can name you 1 billion speed bumps to get into the way of success. Again, you have the prime example of a guy overcoming speed bumps and hurdles, playing your quarterback position. You know, when we talk about guys that are leaders, Joel Embiid is not a leader. He'll never be a leader. He will never lead the 76ers to a championship. Jalen Hurts has the capabilities of doing it. Okay? Is Joel Embiid a more gifted athlete than what Jalen is in his respective sport? Yeah. Isn't it funny? You look at Embiid. He's the MVP of the league. And yet, guess what? When it comes to 2 minutes left in the game, I'm not going to him. I have no interest in him. Okay? James Harden, I have no interest in you. Kevin Durant, you're not leading me anywhere. When you were asked to lead, you ran. He thought he could do what he did in Golden State, being a number 2 guy to Seth. You know what's great about, hey, I said this to Dwayne Wade years ago when I was talking sports in Miami. Do you know what the key component was for that Heat team to win championships? What do you guys think was the most important component? And this applies to all teams. I think Jalen Hurts has a little of this. What do you think the most important asset a leader can have? Tell anyone, what do you guys think happened on why things got turned around? So much so where you're looking and you're like this. Okay? What? What was the one thing? Ray Allen? Nope. Bobby Clark's a great leader. He's a great leader. You tell me, what do you think was the most important thing that won LeBron those championships? Tony says confidence. I'll tell you what Seth Curry and Dwayne Wade had a lot in common. You ready? They made LeBron James and KD feel like it was their team. They made them feel like, hey, guess what? We need you to win. They put their egos aside. Just like Hurts does when he talks about his teammates. Wade made LeBron James feel that it was his team. Seth Curry welcomed KD in. Hey, man, you're going to lead us. Do you know what a great leadership move that is for Steph Curry to go like this? Hey, KD, this is your team. Everyone knew it wasn't. Wasn't the point. KD believed it. That's why KD went to Brooklyn and tried it. They sacrificed their own position, knowing full well it would never be challenged anyway. That's confidence. Some of you put the word confidence up there. Those guys are confident in who they are. LeBron James didn't have a lot of confidence going to Miami. Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade taught him it. That's why he was able to come back from 3-1. Because he had the confidence in him that he could lead it and lead Kyrie. Has Kyrie been anywhere since he had that 37 in that closeout game? No. It didn't take LeBron, but that moment being in that organization with Pat Riley, with 11 championship rings, and Dwayne Wade going, this is your team now. That's why he was so pissed off, Dwayne Wade, at the end when they didn't give him the $20 million. I mean, this guy bent over for Chris Bosh. He bent over for... Those guys are so comfortable and confident who they are. It's leadership. Do you know in professional sports how fragile that is? Look at you guys tell me all the time about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz was the most valuable player candidate. He's a guy that helped win a Super Bowl for the Eagles. Confidence has been shattered. Never to recover. He's never recovered. Does he have talent? He does. Is he a guy that has shown that he's got, yeah. But the one thing he'll never get back, because he doesn't have it instilled in him. He doesn't have the leadership gene, and he doesn't have the quality. LeBron inherited it because LeBron was so young, and rightfully so. When you're young like that, not everybody has that Jordan gene. Jordan hey, let's not forget, Jordan hitting the jump shot in the corner at North Carolina as a freshman. I mean, he's taking that shot at 18, 19, 29, 39. Jordan's taking that shot because he's confident and comfortable and confident who he is. Not everybody's doing that. And guys who just do this, like when Jalen comes to the podium, man, our team is really great. I couldn't do anything without these guys. He means it. This is where Wentz failed. Here's your classwork. And here's your prime example of where Wentz failed. Wentz did not give the credit and let the teammates feel that he didn't empower them. Jalen Hurts, Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, they empowered Shaq and LeBron. Look at Dwayne Wade's resume. Dwayne Wade's resume is dealing with Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James and winning titles with them and not getting in the way. Look at Steph before, with KD, after, didn't matter, right? I think that's an understated quality in an athlete. That's an understated quality, that you empower your teammates. And you must feel it, because you know why? Like the kid Nolan Smith, I feel that with him. I feel that kid's got that quality gene in him. You know when you're in the building with the guy. You know when you're in a room or you're in a conversation with somebody that just exudes that. Doesn't really matter what you say to him or what he does. He's got confidence in himself, and he's never going to be deterred because he's in a direction. You know, what is that famous Lincoln line? What's the whole thing? Who gives a shit about knowing due north if you got to go through the swamp and you don't know a course to get through? What's the point of knowing due north? You can have the direction, but if you don't know the landscape, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to get there. What's the point of knowing it? It's a great Lincoln line. Knowing all your obstacles. Certain people empower guys. Okay? Certain people. Carson Wentz didn't empower anyone. And that's why you hear this. You know, he's really not a great locker room guy. Tom Brady empowers everyone. He gets into a locker room, he'll talk to AB. He'll talk to Aaron Hernandez. He'll deal with Gronk. He'll deal with the 53rd guy on the roster. I mean, some guys have Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe Aaron Rodgers has that quality. Look, hey, there's a part of me that questions a little bit on Lamar Jackson on that. Sign a brand new deal so you're not with your guys at OTAs. Come on, dog. You know, we were talking about John Morant and being a face of a franchise. It's one thing to be a face of a franchise, but when they empower you with $55 million a year and you're making $250 million, you have an obligation to everybody in the locker room too, because then they think that you think you're better than them. And that again goes to the point of not empowering your guys. So hey, when Hurts was at the podium, didn't he feel uncomfortable talking about money? Because he didn't want his teammates to think he thought he was better than them. And you know what? When I come away watching that press conference, I feel this. Man, Chandler's not any better than anybody else. But he is. And you're 24. Right. Dude, I had nothing close to that. And it's rare to see that. You see a kid that's that young and you're like, shit. It's like Magic Johnson stuff. I told you this. One of the most impactful athletes in the history of my life is Magic. In a 5-year span, this guy wins 2 state championships in Michigan, beats Larry Bird in the NCAA finals. His rookie year, he beats the Sixers, 44, 14, and 7 in Game 6, MVP at 20, then goes on to win 4 more. I mean, shit. Has there ever been a better 5-year span at every level than what he did? Maybe Russell? I mean, incredible. When guys make that kind of, and carried Jabbar to the title that he had not had since he was in Milwaukee. Those are great leaders. Those are just great leaders. I mean, Magic Johnson is one of the greatest leaders in the history of the NBA. I mean, you really think LeBron has the Magic Johnson leadership gene? I don't. Dude, Jabbar wasn't in that Game 6 in Philly. He played the 5. All right, I'm past my post. I want to reset. Interesting. Doc Rivers canned again. We're going to reset everything here. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the